Hi there and welcome. My name is Michael Kentenich and I'm a Microsoft Technical Trainer. In this video, I will introduce you to Azure Blob Storage, your data's best friend. Azure Blob Storage is a way to streamline your work, optimize your solutions, and unlock the potential of your data. With its highly scalable, secure, and cost-effective features, it's the perfect tool for businesses of all sizes. Whether you're storing documents, media files, or application data, Azure Blob Storage has got you covered. Your applications and services need to be able to access your data anytime, anywhere, and you don't have to worry about server maintenance or data loss. I will identify with you together here the different types of storage accounts and the resource hierarchy of Blob Storage, and enable a storage account for static website hosting. Azure Blob Storage stores unstructured data as blobs, binary large objects. They don't have to be large though. Your app or service needs to write log files or to archive data for long retention. Do you want to serve images and documents for your web apps from a central location? Or do you need a backup location for on-prem data? Or do you need a cold path solution for IoT data? Azure Blob Storage is the solution for all of this. Azure Blob Storage comes as part of a storage account. A storage account is a container for different storage services like files, tables, queues, and blobs. In this video, we will only focus on blobs. Everything related to storage on Azure is built on a unified distributed storage system in our data centers that ensures data in your storage account is durable, highly available, secure, and massively scalable. Disks that you attach to virtual machines are a separate resource, and we don't cover them in this video, but they are also backed by this storage system. If you want to find out more about disks or specifically manage disks, go to Microsoft Learn, and you will find all you need to know about it. When you create a storage account, you have a couple of decisions to make. The performance level determines if you get high speed or if there's more emphasis on high capacity. You can decide between standard and premium, where premium gives you best performance but is limited to specific services, while standard uses all the services as you like. You can mix them, you can match them. In your solution, you will use probably more than just one storage account for different components of your applications. Azure Blob Storage provides data access through its resources, and there are 3 of them. A storage account refers to an account that you can use to access Azure storage. In terms of hierarchy, it's the parent account of the container, the blob container, and the blob resources. A blob container is a set of objects that are put together and reached by using the same basic uniform resource identifier, URI. A blob is just a piece of data, usually a media file or a disk that is saved in the container, or anything else you can imagine. Would you like to see this in action? Then let's go and create a storage account in the next demo. In this video, I will show you how to create a storage account using the Azure portal, and then how to use an application that is configured to use the Azure Storage Client library to interact with Blob Storage as part of that storage account. So first, let's create a new storage account. I can already see the icon, but still I will look for storage. Storage account appears just at the top of the list of services. I will click this and I'll get to the view that lists all my different storage accounts I have in my subscriptions available right now. I will create a new one. In the same subscription, I will pick the Contoso app region resource group, and this should go into the region East US. I will give it a name that is globally unique, because we use this as part of a URL later on for the endpoints that are available then to us. And this here just says storage account for Contoso in the region East US and the number. I will leave the rest as a default. I'm not going into the details in here, but this is going to be a general purpose V2 account, so we can use it for all the storage services like Blob, storage, what we want to do right now, files, queues, tables, that is all available in here. And I will enable the redundancy, global redundant storage, and the rest is really just some advanced features that you can set. There's a lot of features for a storage account available. Networking, we just leave it at the default. This will be accessible from all networks internally and externally from Azure. In terms of data protection, there's soft delete automatically enabled, which means that deleted files will be retained for 7 days or whatever I configure in here if I need that. And I can even change the encryption type if I wanted to. But I want to keep this all at the default. Let's Azure Resource Manager check if I did anything wrong. And if it's okay, then looks like it. So just go ahead and create it. Now, while this is creating, I have already prepared the application I'm going to show you. So I'm switching over to Visual Studio Code, and this is ready to go code that you can find also on Microsoft Learn in the lab Git repository. And what I want to show you here, this is the .NET application, right? It's available for other SDKs and frameworks as well, or we have SDKs for other frameworks as well. That's just one example. So with this one, later on, I need to have a connection. I need to have a connection from my app into the storage account, but not the storage account directly, but really I will connect to a blob service, the blob service that lets me create containers and blobs in it. So for this, I will instantiate a blob service client, which will be made available by these two different libraries that I have imported in here. So the Azure Storage Blobs and Blobs models. Once I have this, I will define a name for a container and then add a GUI to it. And the idea is that next I will create a blob container. If it doesn't exist, will it be created? Otherwise, it will just be used. Or if I think of this correctly, it should actually complain if this container already exists, because it's using a GUID here, and there is another method that we can use that we just created if it's not existing. This one will actually give me an error if exactly that name was already taken. But it will be unique, so that's not a problem with this code. And what we'll do is, this code just for demo purposes creates a local text file locally on my computer that I'm running this on right now. It will put the obligatory hello world example written into that file, and then it will use that container client that we have instantiated to initialize a blob client. So we can add a file and then upload it to that container that we have just created. So we'll use this upload async function pointing to the local file. And once it has done this, the next step is to check if that was actually okay. So we will list all the blobs in the container if there are any. So we will see. And then in the end, it will also demo here that we can, using code, download the file right away. So all of it in one option, really, not really a real world example, but it's a good showcase to show you how you can use and leverage the different methods to interact with the blob storage. So speaking of which, by now, everything should be created. That looks good. So first of all, let me show you the storage account. And because as I said, I'm not uploading any files or blobs to the storage account, I will do this in a specific container. So the containers here, nothing to do with virtualized applications. These are blob containers. There's one created automatically where we will keep logs at some point. And I can go ahead and create another container here for data, for example. That container will then can then be used to upload files. So I can upload any blobs that I have in here. But what I want to do now is upload files and create a container by using code. But how does my application get access to the storage account? There are a couple of ways. And since this application is running on my local machine, doesn't have any identity in the Azure world right now. There's no application registration for it right now. That would be the best way, obviously. But there's another way. most straightforward, not necessarily recommended one, but I will show this to you right now. So if I go on the storage account configuration level, I scroll down, I have the access keys node in here. I have for each storage account 2 access keys, and these are super important. Keep them a secret as long as possible. Don't give them out to anyone who really doesn't need that sort of access, because with this key, I can do everything with this storage account. I can break containers, delete them. I can change the configuration of the storage account. So this is not like the, let's say the most granular way, but it is the way that I'm going to use right now, just for demo purposes. What I need for my app right now, the way that I instructed it, is I need to have a connection string. The connection string is provided here, where it gives me the name and also a specific key, the token then, that I can now use in code. So I will copy this over into my code, switch back, and here in line 7, I do something that I usually don't do in production, or I should never do this in production. I hope you don't do, and you agree with me here. I will now paste this access key in the file, so it will end up in a repository if I upload it at some point, which you should not do. I'm just doing this for demo purposes right now. We should actually get that from a key vault or use managed identities. That's a different topic for now. If you want to know more about this, Microsoft Learn has all about this. But I will do this for an easy fix here right now. So with this, I have saved this now. My application is ready to see if it works, and I actually can get a connection to my storage account. So let's open up the terminal. I'm already in the folder where that code resides. So from here on, I will just run it and see if it can actually get a connection to this storage account. So it might take a while until it gets that all sorted out. But other than this, I have not configured anything else with that application. I've just provided that access key. Now we can see it doesn't bring back any error messages, but it says, yeah, I'm uploading a file in here, and it even gives me a link that looks like, yeah, it has created a quick start blob and the GUID container in here, and then it has provided the same name, or not, actually it's a different GUID for the file itself. So there's a text file, and that text file should have hello world in it. Then I showed you that the next step would be to list the blobs. Yeah, it did list it, so that means the upload was successful, and then even managed to download this in a different version with the downloaded appended to it. So yeah, if I go now back to my storage account, I should see in the container view that I showed you before, where I just had my logs and the data one, yes, there is this quick start blob and so on. Was just created a few minutes ago. So if I open this up, yes, there is indeed a file. If I open this and look into the file, yeah, it says hello world. So yeah, that is just one example how you can use the .NET SDK as one, but you can do the same with Java or Python and other languages and frameworks to interact from code or in code with your storage account and the blob container in it. A special use case for Azure Storage is to host a static website. Static website hosting is a great option in cases where you don't require a web server to render content. You can serve static content like an HTML file, CSS, JavaScript, and image files directly from a storage container specifically named $web. When you use Azure Storage to host your content, you can take advantage of serverless architectures that involve Azure Functions and other Platform as a Service services. Static websites come with some restrictions though. For instance, you need to use Azure Content Delivery Network, Azure CDN, if you want to set up headers. The static website feature itself does not allow you to do this. Also, authentication and authorization are not available. You might want to use Azure Static Web Apps if these features are important for you. It's a good option for static websites and also works well when you don't need a web server to display content. You can set headers, and authorization is fully supported in this service. Azure Static Web Apps also offers a fully managed continuous integration and continuous delivery CI/CD workflow from GitHub sources to global deployment. If you need a web server to render content, your option would be Azure App Service. Congratulations on delving into the core features of Azure Blob Storage. By understanding its functionality, you're equipped to efficiently manage your data in the cloud, ensuring scalability and reliability. With Azure Blob Storage, unlock endless possibilities for storing and accessing your data seamlessly. Thanks for watching. Keep on learning.